Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. In Ahsoka episode 5, we got to revisit the world between worlds. When this happened, Ahsoka met back up with Anakin, who seemed to be some sort of cosmic entity, a being in time with complete control over the realm that they resided in. During her excursion and adventures with the world between worlds, Anakin began to teach her a final lesson which he named Live or Die. This, however, was far more than a black and white reality of whether Ahsoka wanted to come back to life or not. It was about finding the life within herself and finding life with the Jedi Order, or letting both of them die with her. All of this was culminating in Ahsoka's decision to possibly return to the Jedi, but in a different way. Many of us theorized that she would be coming out of this interaction as Ahsoka the White, which is what we saw in Rebels. In a way, sort of she did, as Ahsoka has changed her garb and now seems to be much more optimistic. She's one step closer to Ahsoka the White, but isn't quite there yet. So today, we will be opening up a holocron and discussing specifically what Anakin's lesson was, what Ahsoka the White even is, and how we know it's plausible. Before we begin though, we have had a terrible vision through the Force. Many who visit our archives have not yet subscribed to our order, so if you've been enjoying the daily holocron openings, reach out and crush that subscribe button. It is your destiny. In episode 5, a heavy focus on the Clone Wars flashbacks is Ahsoka dealing with the horrors of war and the constant loss of life despite the Jedi's sworn duty to protect it. As a grown woman revisiting her youth, Ahsoka realizes just how messed up the Clone Wars truly was as an environment for a Padawan, especially one to be trained in. As we saw in the episode from Anakin's own mouth, he never really trained her in the conventional ways of a Jedi, but the Clone Wars was Ahsoka's training. She became a hardened warrior and resents the Jedi Order for this fact. Ahsoka cares far more about preserving life than taking it, an admirable and ideal quality for a Jedi. As she accurately points out, the way the Jedi were in the Clone Wars was most certainly not the Jedi way. This is a sentiment that many of us can agree with and have agreed with for a very long time. And yet, Anakin swings back at this with an argument we haven't quite considered before. What if this was a good thing? What if the Clone Wars and the legacy of the Jedi was always meant to culminate in a brand new Ahsoka the White? One of the lessons he was imparting was the Jedi themselves, with his main point being that they have to change in order to adapt to the galaxy around them. He says when Obi-Wan trained him, it was about keeping the peace, but since the Clone Wars broke out, he had to train Ahsoka to be a soldier and a warrior. Ahsoka though rejects this and asks if that's all she is, and that's why Anakin said that she still wasn't understanding. Ahsoka has been living her whole life since 19 BBY with one foot in the Jedi and one foot out. Anakin was forcing her to make a decision and to choose. Anakin needed to make her see that it was her turn to redefine the Jedi for the current era and the current galaxy. Different eras of the galaxy need different Jedi, their legacy always imparted on the next. Maybe the idea that we have the right Jedi would have been disastrous for the galaxy in the state that it was in the Clone Wars. The Jedi of the Republic Classic era may have lost the sight of the way of the peacekeeping order and became soldiers. But maybe that's what the galaxy needed. Anakin is now trying to get Ahsoka to see that it is her time to decide what kind of Jedi the galaxy needs now. The lesson will ultimately lead Ahsoka into a deep relationship with the Force, the light side, which is a road that ends with Ahsoka the White, a more enlightened, literally and figuratively version. But what exactly is Ahsoka the White on a deeper level? Well, Ahsoka the White is her ultimate destination, and perhaps it is her destiny. We once spoke of a time when Ahsoka would take the place of the daughter of Mortis in the future, as the representative and watchman over the light side of the Force. She would be with Anakin keeping the balance in the Force and the universe. So how exactly is this all possible? And how do we know that Ahsoka has some semblance of deity within her? Well, Ahsoka still has parts of the daughter. On Mortis, after the daughter sacrificed herself, she made the decision to transfer the rest of her life force into Ahsoka, which meant that a piece of the daughter now lives on. We know this because of Moray, a mystical servant of the daughter that follows and adheres now to Ahsoka, even to the point of being able to pass into the world between worlds herself and meet Ahsoka and direct Ezra to her. This idea of the daughter's influence within Ahsoka Tano is further explored in how she interacts with the world between worlds. Just like Anakin has power over it, so too does Ahsoka. Ahsoka seems to have a small amount of innate knowledge of this place, and is connected to it in some way that she cannot yet explain. When she is pulled through one of the gateways in Rebels by Ezra, she is confused for a moment, but shortly receives an understanding of what the place is. It was then when she knew that not only could Ezra not alter the past in the way that he wanted to save Kanan, but Ahsoka also understood that they had to go back through the gates from which they came and not any other. The daughter and the world between worlds is connected because that is the will of the ones. In the painting on Lothal, it was the daughter's hand that opened the portal itself. Clearly that is highly representational, as the daughter pretty much being the key to unlocking the realm in the first place. So it would stand to reason that Ahsoka has an innate connection, and perhaps even a minor influence over the world between worlds. We can also see this happening during her flashbacks. She was inhabiting her younger body in that memory of the moment and time. Now this could be from Anakin's influence, but he was able to connect with Ahsoka in some way, and use the world between worlds to venture throughout her memories, doing so in order to teach her lessons through them. This uses this realm in a way that we have never seen before, perhaps in a way that is unique to Ahsoka Tano. So what is the purpose of Ahsoka the White? Ahsoka the White will usher in a new age for the Jedi. She will represent a light side of the Force that has long since been lost to the Jedi of the Clone Wars, and she will reunite the Jedi with the light. But this time, without them becoming too dogmatic and throwing out the balance. A Jedi who will not be blinded and will fight when necessary, but will not be defined by war and destruction. Anakin's lesson and the choice to live or die is not just about Ahsoka. It's about the choice whether to allow the teachings and the spirit of Anakin Skywalker, and even the rest of the Jedi Order, to live or die completely. Luke Skywalker is doing his own thing with the new Jedi Order, but Ahsoka holds all of the teachings from a direct legacy of powerful and wise Jedi Masters, ones that experience the Force in a very unique way. It may be unlikely for Ahsoka to start her own new Jedi Order, since Luke Skywalker already is, but that may be a contingency plan for when Luke's order gets destroyed eventually. The next option, though, is that Ahsoka starts a Jedi Order within the new galaxy that the pathway to Peridia is leading. The Peridian galaxy may need Ahsoka's influence in the end. However, I'm not quite sure that this will be the answer either. The only thing that I feel confident in this moment is option 3. Ahsoka the White is the new representation of the light side of the Force, the new daughter, if you will. The one who will live on with Anakin Skywalker in the world between worlds to maintain balance. Ahsoka will become like an urban legend within the Force and the galaxy itself, a being so powerful in the light that she represents the way to it entirely. She will be able to do what the daughter was never able to do, truly preserve life in the galaxy, teaching many others to do the same along the way. But of course, this is only our thoughts on Ahsoka the White, the enlightened version of this ultimate guardian of the light side of the Force. Dave Filoni has stated several times that he always views Ahsoka as this sort of guardian figure, the Gandalf of Star Wars, if you will. But the story of Ahsoka, and moving forward, is a journey to this enlightenment, shedding the gray clothes, and opening the light side of the Force within her fully, becoming Ahsoka the White. But anyway, my friends, thank you so much for giving me some of your time today. It absolutely means the world to me. And as always, I would love to hear what you have to say in the comments down below, and may the Force be with you.